Skyy, you're Western Michigan. You're a Steeler fan. You grew up watching the Steelers there. There was a guy that played there for a long time that went to Central Michigan. Antonio Brown. Did you look up to him as a player, a route runner, the baller that he was when he was with the Steelers? And would you say there's a part of your game that reminds you of Antonio?
As soon as I made the switch from DB to receiver, I started pulling from his game, just like automatically. That was one of the only receivers in my freshman season that I was watching. So I would definitely, if you say that I emulate his game, that's exactly why.
Ladies and gents, the only thing constant in life is change. Tyreek Hill was an incredible weapon for Patrick Mahomes, but in fantasy football, you can't dwell on the past. You have to try and predict the future. The Chiefs now have 360 available targets to distribute, which is second only to the Titans, and Patrick Mahomes is still an incredible quarterback. So it's time to get to know who I think will become his new favorite target, and his name is Skyy Moore. Triple Play Fantasy's YouTube channel is always dropping videos to help you win your leagues in football, baseball, and basketball, so make sure to hit that subscribe button. Now without further ado, let's get into it. Moore was drafted in the late second round of this year's draft out of Western Michigan. He's just under 22 years old, 5'10", and 191 pounds, so you shouldn't expect a big-bodied possession receiver role out of him. That's what the Chiefs signed Juju Smith-Schuster for. The real eye-popping detail in his profile is his 4.41 40-yard dash, which ranked 90th percentile in his draft class. But that's not all. He's also in the 99th percentile for his college target share at a whopping 40%. This basically tells you that of all the college receivers, no one mattered more to their team's offense on an individual level than Skyy Moore. Now I know it's starting to sound like I'm getting ready to make the argument that Skyy Moore is going to replace Tyreek Hill. Trust me, I'm not going to say that. Although Moore is fast like Hill, it's Hill's burst and agility that can't be matched. And as you can see here, Moore's metrics are far inferior to Hill in that regard. They're going to have to replace Tyreek Hill in the aggregate with their entire tight end and wide receiver core. That's not something that can be done by one player. So let's take a look at the Chiefs' current depth chart. Excluding Travis Kelce, who is obviously Pat Mahomes' go-to target, Juju Smith-Schuster is likely to be their number one wide receiver in terms of yardage. While he's new, he's a very young, big-bodied, sure-handed receiver who Mahomes will look to on out routes, red zone looks, slants, and the occasional go routes. As for Mecole Hardman, I've been expecting him to have a breakout year every year, and it just hasn't materialized. He'll go through periods of time where he barely gets a target, and he'll have one game where he gets 8. He's just too inconsistent for me to bet on. MVS, on the other hand, is the other wide receiver listed as a first-string wideout, and it's going to be between him and Moore for that spot, and I think Moore is going to win. Andy Reid's system is notoriously difficult for rookie wide receivers to make an impact in, but with Mahomes at the helm, I'm not expecting to see the best version of Skyy Moore that we'll see for his career. I'm expecting to see a ton of targets, and that's what you count on in fantasy football. Mecole Hardman played 45% of snaps his rookie year with a 7% target share. Tyreek Hill played 41% of snaps and garnered a 15% target share. If we average those two out and project Moore for an 11% target share, we're looking at around 70 targets for Moore in his rookie season, depending on how many snaps he gets. That would put him on par with other receivers in 2021 that had equivalent targets. We're talking Kendrick Bourne, Allen Robinson, Rondale Moore, Devontae Parker, and Kenny Galladay. That's not bad company for a rookie wide receiver. Which brings me to my next point. The reason Skyy Moore might help you win a fantasy championship is because you're not going to have to reach for him. He's the perfect wide receiver for my favorite draft strategy, which is picking 2 running backs early, getting an elite quarterback or a top 5 TE, and then start hunting for my wide receivers. I mentioned Kendrick Bourne being a wide receiver that had around 70 targets last year, and he actually finished wide receiver 29. If you can get that out of Skyy Moore, and I believe you can in this offense with Patrick Mahomes, you'll be sitting pretty. Skyy Moore's ADP is currently 147, and he's ranked as the wide receiver 59. I'll be taking all the shares of Moore I can handle. Lastly, I feel very comfortable about taking the over on Moore's snap count and target share because Skyy Moore's unteachable trait, which is he's extremely dependable. In this year's wide receiver class, Moore is behind only George Pickens for the lowest career drop rate at 3.3%. He catches pretty much everything. The best way to make a good impression is to do what's asked of you, and he can play both inside and outside, and tied for first in his class with 26 forced missed tackles. Whatever is asked of him, he can do, and he's gonna catch the ball. Make sure to get Skyy Moore on all your rosters.
Yes, sir. How you doing? Yes, sir. I'm doing good. How about yourself? I'm super excited to be on the Chiefs.
The 2022 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Skyy.